Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another Fab 5 Hop and Giveaway. For those of you who don't know me, hi, my name is Steph Williams. I'm a paper crafter and card maker from Queensland, Australia. This Fab 5 Hops theme is Partying Like Ghouls and we are celebrating our 1-year anniversary. You'll notice there are a few little different things about this hop. One, we have a few more hoppers joining us to celebrate, and we have 5 sponsors. We'll talk about all of that in just a minute, but first I'm going to show you the project that we are making today. The second this theme was announced, I jumped right into my crafty stash to come up with this one. First up, I'm going to show you all the products that I used today. You'll notice that with these hops, the Fab 5 like to use both our old and new Lawn Fawn sets. And while I haven't gone with any of this year's Halloween release, I did use a lot of last year's, and I've used some that are so old, I think they were some of the very first Lawn Fawn stamps I ever bought, and that was probably about 6 years ago. So as you can see, I am stamping out all of my images. I'm going for a lot of kitty cats with this one. I thought it would be cute to have them celebrating what looks like a Halloween-themed birthday. There is quite a lot to colour in today, so I have sped it up quite a bit so that it doesn't get too boring. I think you'll be able to tell just from the amount of images that I've used that I had way too much fun making this one. And I kind of went a little bit overboard. But that's not such a bad thing, at least in my eyes, because it shows just how excited I was to get stuck into this project. As with all of my colouring, I keep things very, very simple. I'm mostly using Copic markers, but I am just using a few other alcohol markers where I need to. And to keep things nice and quick and easy, all I do is colour in my image with a light Copic marker. I use a darker shade of that same family for the shadows, and then I go back in with that lighter colour to blend them together. I also add some white Jelly Roll marker highlights at the end to give them a little bit more dimension. Colouring this card is going to be the longest bit of this tutorial, so now is the perfect time to talk about our hop. If you've never participated in a YouTube hop before, it's very, very simple. If you're watching my video, then you've probably seen it on my channel, or you've come here from the link in the description from Carrie Road's video. So where you are now is my stop on the hop. And in the description for my video, you'll find the link to the next stop on the hop. And in that video, the link for the next one will be there too. And you just keep going until you've made a full circle. Being the Fab 5, there's typically only 5 of us who do these hops every couple of months. But because we're celebrating our anniversary, we've invited some other crafty friends to join us. So this time there are 8 stops, and at each of them, there's going to be a completely different project that fits this theme. And like all Fab 5 hops, we have a giveaway. Today we're sponsored by multiple shops, which means there is multiple chances to win a prize. And all you have to do to enter is hop along to each of these stops and leave us a comment. It can be as simple as saying hello, and that's it, you're in the draw. I would like to say a huge thank you to our 5 sponsors, Keight Krafts, Inky and Scrappy, Tree Hobbies, Cloud9 Crafts, and Lawn Fawn. With all of that out of the way, I'm just going to leave you with a little bit of music while I finish colouring these in and adding my white highlights. After using a mix of dyes and fussy cutting to cut out all my images, I decided I wanted to trim this little can of cat food just a little bit to get rid of the lid. It was going to be in the way of the kitty cats when they're holding them. So all I've done is trim it off, and I've covered those black lines with a jelly roll pen. And while it's not perfect at a glance, you can't even tell that it was ever there. While I did love the idea of having a bright white background for this, I thought it was a little too boring. So what I've done here is add just a very small amount of Spiced Marmalade Distress Oxide ink with my brick stencil to this piece of white cardstock. And that way it kind of looks like a little wall that the kitty cats are peeking over as they're watching their friend receive his cake. For this background, I'm adding just some flecks of shaded lilac, as I've used very pale purples in my colouring, and I'm also adding some silver flecks with my white gold watercolour pigment. This just gives it a bit of shine, a bit of dimension, and ties everything together. My sentiment for this card is super simple. I'm stamping this on some black cardstock with some embossing ink, using some white powder, and then I'm going to emboss this with my heat tool. As I am in Queensland and the weather is warming up, I have made sure I've used heaps of anti-static powder on my cardstock before adding powder. Before I add anything to my card front, I'm going to make sure I add my double-sided tape to the back of it now. This just saves me doing this later when I've got three-dimensional pieces. I don't want to push down on this, potentially ruining their height. When I adhere this to my card front, I make sure I leave the gaps at the backs of their heads free of any adhesive. And this is because I'm going to pop the strings of the balloons in there a little bit later. When we first settled on the theme for this hop, for some reason the first thing that I envisioned was using these bats as balloons. So as you can see, during the stamping portion of this project, I drew just that tiny little bit for the bottom of the balloon, and then I fussy cut these out. I'd love to know if you also think that they make ridiculously cute balloons. Before I stick my card front on, I'm just stamping my logo onto the back, and then all that's left to do is remove this double-sided tape and adhere my card front to my card base. And there we have it, this card is complete. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope that you will look in the description box below for the next stop on this hop. Don't forget to leave us all a comment so that you can go in the draw to be a part of our Fab 5 anniversary giveaway. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.